Well, Broncos country, happy day after Christmas. Hope you guys all had a wonderful holiday with your family, with your friends. And I know that you know the Broncos didn't want to make yesterday's Christmas Day all that comfortable for everyone, but the Broncos did get a win. A lot to talk about. Joined by my buddy Jeremy to break this game down. Broncos end up getting a 20-13 win, and they are officially 13-3 in full control of their destiny still. And we'll get right to it, man. The good, the bad, the ugly. Jeremy, first of all, how you doing, man? And what are your initial thoughts of the game overall?
I'm doing well. Yeah, had a great Christmas. And yeah, I like we were just talking about right before we hit record. Like anytime you think it's going to be an easier game, that's just it's not going to be.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw the Broncos were favored by 2 touchdowns, I was like, oh no,
Hmm.
we do not do. We might win, but we do not do well with like huge expectations like that. Like it's just
Yeah.
not going to happen. And I should have known. Like we watched Kansas City like lay over for Tennessee or whatever, and you're like, oh, maybe they'll be doing the same. But it's like they're not going to do that to their division rival on Christmas with their everybody national TV with everybody watching. They're going to
Yeah.
give us everything. So yeah, that and I just want to say like a lot of people have a nice glazed ham for Christmas. And But I think this game will forever be known as the Christmas night Travis Kelsey Glaze game because holy
Totally.
moly. Like,
Totally,
could
dude.
we get any more? Like, guys, let's
No
break
shit.
down. Like, man, look at this. Like, oh, what is he going to do? Oh, we don't. It's like,
Yeah.
he's a good player, but calm down. Oh my gosh. Like,
Yep.
respect, but good Lord.
And I'm not gonna lie, man. Like I didn't even think about the whole narrative of like, oh, it's Travis Kelsey's last game type of a thing.
Yeah.
So when that kind of happened, I was like, oh shit, like this is gonna be annoying.
Oh,
You know what I mean? This is gonna be irritating, and that's kind of what it was, obviously. Um, but yeah, man. I mean, so what were your thoughts overall? Because when you look at the box score, right, and you
yeah.
just look at like the stats, and obviously we always try to say like the stats never paint the full picture ever. It just
No.
doesn't ever do it. But you look at it, man, and kind of like very similar to the second um, Broncos game that we had against the Charge with the Raiders, which ended up being like a 7 point game. But that one we felt like we were a lot more control of. But I mean, just dominated the game, like 303 yards for us. They had 139. They had 20 minutes in possession to our 40. Um, we were, you know, great on third downs. They were just 4 of 11. Like, if you just looked at this, the team stats and kind of the comparison between the two, you would think this was a 20, 30 point blowout. But it ends up being a much closer game with the Chiefs having an opportunity at the end to tie the game. Or I was deathly scared that they were going to go for two. And I didn't want to have to deal with all that.
I totally thought that we were going to do.
But
Yeah.
like, what were your thoughts overall? I guess we could start like on the defensive side. That's kind of been the big topic of discussion. People think this defense is like regressing. How did you feel like the defense played overall?
Good and bad, up and down. There was some stuff where I was just like, "What in the heck?" I mean, the only reason this was a football game was because of that blown tackle by Singleton on Brashard Smith that led to the touchdown. And it was like, if you can just make the tackle, it would have been a field goal and nobody would have been stressed out. But then now they start feeling good. Oh, we're up. Oh, we got to maintain the lead. Oh, we got, and it's just like, just do the little things. Like after last week, you would think like tackling and catching the football would be high priorities to this team to like, let's fix some of the small stuff. But no, those carried over. And that was really frustrating. And it shouldn't have been that big of a surprise that they're like, hey, they don't want to throw the football with their third string quarterback who hasn't gotten any meaningful snaps probably ever. Um, so they're gonna run the ball and they're gonna like RPO everything and they're gonna have him running the football. Like that shouldn't have been that big of a surprise. Yeah, we did
Yeah,
keep him to low numbers, but it's like we'd give up a field or a punt that was a big return, and then all they needed was one first down, and then they could kick a long field goal. So it was just like stupid little things keeping them in it. But I think there was a certain drive. It was the drive after. Let me look at my notes here. There was a drive after. Remember that they went up 10-7, and their QB had fumbled it, picked it back up, and thrown it for a first down while Nick Bonito, instead of chasing the passer, was complaining for a foul, which it's in Kansas City. They could literally like pull your arm off your body and they're not calling anything against Kansas City. So like just be prepared for that. So if he doesn't keep maintaining, like he doesn't keep rushing the passer, he has all day to pick his own fumble up, completes a pass. Then the next play, he throws it deep. Patrick Surtain with a like ridiculous pass interference, which it was. It was just like he got lost, but he didn't need to. And they got a field goal. So now they're up 10-6. And that was the drive after that was when we had that long sustained drive. And I felt like that's when we finally locked in and took control. This team finally was like, okay, we're going to like focus. And that was the turning point. So it shows you like when we want to do it, we can do it. We've seen that all year long.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating that you just don't do it all the time.
No, for sure. And it's weird, man, because like I was after watching the game and then watching it again, because like I told you, like I got a little bit sick during the game, so I was like, all right, I forgot a lot about it. So I went back and rewatched it. And what ended up like what the crazy thing is it seemed like for whatever reason, it seemed like the Chiefs had a lot more yards than they did. Like I was like, I still can't wrap my head around the fact that, I mean, Olajuwon had 66 yards passing. They actually threw the ball more than they ran it, which was also surprising to me. They only had 82 yards rushing, so the overall efficiency wasn't good. But yeah, it seemed like again, it's almost like when the Broncos defense gives up plays, they're like big plays, or they really like help flip the field or get the other team in field goal range. But it's like it's also kind of hard to complain and say, oh, the defense didn't play well when the other team really didn't have any yardage, like significant yards at all, you know. And really, they only. I mean, I look at it like really they only gave up like 6 points. You talk about sustained drives. I mean, the touchdown drive that they had was on a short field after the interception. But yeah, very very frustrating. Just like you said, like when the team wants to lock in, they feel like they can. Otherwise, they kind of play really conservative, and that's really what yesterday's game felt like. How did you feel the offense overall did? I mean, I felt like there was some definite ups and downs, but how would you assess the overall offensive, maybe from the game plan standpoint, or just maybe any specific players you want to talk about?
The 2 drives that led to the 6 points early, if those are touchdown drives, you feel great. But because they ended up in field goals, you're frustrated. But those are very long, methodical, successful drives. That first one ended because little Jordan Humphrey didn't seem to run the right route. Bo kind of let him out, and he even told him like out. And then little Jordan Humphrey's like, yeah, that was me. Because you make that, you get it to third down and you make a mistake like that. Now you're kicking a field goal instead of scoring a touchdown. And then that would have, I mean, if we would have came out and put a 7 on them, I think the game could have been ugly early. Like I think they could have maybe laid down, but because we get the 3 instead of 7, and then they get that touchdown because we didn't tackle. It's a ball game, and now who knows? The second one that made it like let's see. Oh, it felt like the Broncos running backs and receivers, I want to say this, are expecting to get tackled a lot of times. They're not actually getting tackled. They're expecting to get tackled, and therefore they're going down a little easier. Where I felt like Kansas City's guys, they were making us tackle them 100%. Like they were like still leaning, still staying up, still doing that extra stuff. Where our guys are kind of like, oh, the guy's here. I guess I got to like start to fall down now. And it's like, you don't. The one thing I will say about RJ Harvey that I've seen the last couple of weeks is that mentality that I said about Terrell Davis back in the day. The first year when he was a rookie, he was like, don't try to do anything crazy. Don't make big plays. Just, be efficient and like go forward every play, but don't worry about making big plays. And then the second year he was like, okay, make big plays, because he was much more comfortable. RJ Harvey's starting to get comfortable where he's just like, oh, I can break this tackle. Oh, I can do this. Now he's still not hitting the hole. He's still thinking too much when he first gets the ball. He's not 100% sure. He's like, I know the ball's supposed to, or the play's supposed to go there. It's not there. Do I still go there, or do I start to bounce, or do I not? And now all of a sudden he's getting tackled in the backfield or something like that. But like, I do like when he gets a little bit of open field, he's like, I can break this tackle. I can make a big play. I can do that. And I've seen him kind of get that mentality the last two or 3 weeks. And that's a good sign because once he kind of feels comfortable on just the getting what you can that's open stuff, then he'll start to feel more comfortable of like, oh, I can break this tackle, or now I can bounce it out, or I now I can shake this guy or whatever. And he has done a good job. He had one yesterday where he got tackled because he thought too much early and then ended up he was going to the right. He shifted all the way back to the left, broke the tackle, and then instead of being like a 4-yard loss, he picked up like 5. And it was little things like that where you're like, okay, that touchdown last week, that was incredible. That was all that kind of a play. So those signs are very encouraging. And I'm excited to see more of that. But like, and Jaleel ran hard too, but I just felt like we don't have any players with yak ability of like, you throw it to them, they're going to break 2 tackles and take it to the house. Like they're like going to catch it. And then whoever's closest to them is going to like start to touch them. And then they're going to be like, okay, now I got to fall down.
Yeah.
And that just drives me nuts. And I wish we had somebody who could break something on his own.
Yeah. No, I agree. There's definitely not a lot of make you miss guys. I mean, I think Kodiak had said it here in the chat. He had said, it seems like Harvey and Mims are the only dudes on this team with, the yards after catch ability.
Yep.
I would agree with that. There's not a lot of make you miss. I bet overall, like I liked the way, I like the effort that a lot of guys on offense played with, like specifically Bo. I thought he was juiced. I loved how he used his legs really well. I like to see the 9 carries for 42 yards in games like that, where you just need to extend plays. Obviously, the rushing touchdown was huge. I'm getting a little bit sick of Courtland Sutton and his drops, man. Like, not gonna lie, he's been really phenomenal for us this year. He's made a lot of really great plays. So I don't want to take anything away from him there, but like we always say he's good for a drop a game. Yesterday was abysmal. I thought he
like 4.
really was he was it was awful. The one in the end zone especially kills you because it was such a dime. Like the most perfectly thrown ball that you can possibly ask for. Just between 2 guys, hits Sutton right in his hands, and he ends up, dropping it. That could have really opened the game up. Instead what ends up happening, we settle for field goal, and instead of it being, 10-0, it's now 6-0. Or sorry, I think that made it, it would have been 10-7, but it ended up making it 6-7 there. So it was just one of those, I feel like every game it's driving me crazy. Like this guy's a leader on the team. He's the highest paid receiver, and dude, he's a vet. Like he's done it. He always seems to make the really hard catches and seems to drop the easy ones. So those are definitely some things that I'd like to see cleaned up. Overall, man, I thought Alex Forsyth played really well.
Same.
I don't feel like you heard anything from him. He was going up against Chris Jones a lot too, and excuse me, and he ended up, I thought, holding his own, playing really well. Bo Nix said something really interesting about him. He said he felt like Alex Forsyth is the hardest working player in the entire league. He went back and corrected himself. He said he's the hardest working player. He's like, I'm going to say he's probably the hardest working player in the entire league. And then he says, like, definitely of all the teammates that I've had or anybody, like, I haven't seen anybody work harder than Alex Forsyth, which could be him just glazing him. But you could easily say, like, he's one of the hardest working players. But to say, like, in the league is definitely high praise. So that's cool to hear. I mean, it's, it seems like he was very genuine when he said that. So I thought that was really really awesome. And yes, Kodak, glad you brought it up. I really liked Trotman's effort yesterday too. I thought Trotman actually played pretty well, especially as a blocker. I noticed that he had a lot of really good blocks, sealed the edges pretty well overall. But man, what do we need to see from this team? Like, this is obviously a tough game to gauge because you knew they were going to go into it kind of like preseason level of, vanilla game plan, right? You don't really know what to expect from Chris Oladuke. Like I was talking to my friends about it, watching it with my brother and brother-in-law and some family, and I was saying, like, how do you even prep for a quarterback like this, right? Like you kind of have to be vanilla and just force him to do it. But what do you need to see from this team as we make this big playoff push, or especially going into the biggest game of the year, obviously the last game of the year next week against the Chargers? That could be not only for the division, but for the number 1 seed. So what do you got to see from this team, improvement wise?
This game's hard to judge anything because you're like, you feel like they probably didn't know how to prepare exactly, other than you should expect them to be running it a lot, which like that doesn't, that's pretty obvious. But they probably didn't want to show very much either. Like you don't want to like do anything too crazy where you're like that could be saving here on a game like
Mhm.
this. So it probably made sense that it's going to go down like this. Real quick before I get into like that more, I was surprised to see Wattenberg go on IR. What was your reaction to
Yes,
that?
no, I'm glad that you brought that up. Actually, that's a really good point. I was too, man. Like, and because it kind of happened like only a couple hours before the game started, I don't think we actually had a chance to like fully digest it. But very surprising. And it could end up being like a massive, massive move. Now, if Alex Forsyth plays really well, then all is good. You're not going to think anything of it. But yeah, I was really surprised, especially because he didn't miss any time in the game versus the Jags. Like he ended up playing every single snap. So I don't know like what it was. I don't know if it
They
ended up
said
being something that
shoulder.
is a shoulder, but I don't know if it ended up like he just played through it and then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, this is really bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super unfortunate because he's basically done for the year unless we make like if we're the number one seed and we make the Super Bowl, he'll be eligible to come back for that game.
Yeah.
If we end up playing wild card weekend, then he'd be eligible, if we play in the championship game.
Yeah.
But I was very surprised by it because obviously they put him on IR because it was something that was very very serious. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on it, and how do you feel about Alex Forsyth stepping in the most important time of the season?
Well, when I initially heard, I was like, "Oh no, crap! Are you serious? He's on
Yeah.
IR?" Like I was expecting it to be like maybe yesterday and next week, and then like if we could hopefully get a bye, then he'll be back for that. But to see him go on IR is like, oh, they know because it's a real flexible like schedule with like the bye factor. So like they're not saying he's going to be back in 4 games. They're saying he's not going to be back. It's got to be at least 5 before we're confident. Like to sit him 100% to say
Yeah,
he's on IR.
exactly.
So
Yep.
I would expect probably done for the year. I mean, and maybe you hope that you can get him for the Super Bowl if you make it that far. But I was just very surprising. I did love the fact that it was Forsyth and he has already a lot of chemistry with Bo, which that's I mean, people underestimate how important the center position is
Yeah.
because they control all the calls, they control all the stuff, and snapping the football, we've seen issues with that from Wattenberg. We've seen a lot of, like, different things, so it is good that our backup center has already had a lot of experience with Bo Nix, so that
Mhm.
that I liked a lot. Um, but he played well, we're gonna have to see, but that's one to watch for sure. Like, we seem to had pretty much done well with injuries this whole year, and now it's like they're starting to pile up a little bit.
Mhm.
So, I don't
They
know.
are. No, they are. And I think we're really lucky to have somebody like Forsyth as a backup center. I mean, I've always felt like he was pretty decent. I liked a lot of the potential that he had, but it's been nice that he's been with the team for a few years too, and having that chemistry with Bo Nix helps. So it's gonna. I mean, he's gonna have to be a beast. Like the best thing that he can do, man, is not be a topic of conversation, right?
Mhm.
Similar with Palcho. Like Palczewski, anytime he's ever played, you're not really talking about him too much when
Mhm.
he's a full time starter, whether at right tackle or at left guard. And that's the best thing that I think can happen. With Alex Forsyth as well. This is a massive opportunity for him. Um, and so, we'll see. The biggest thing with him is it was never his run blocking. Like his run blocking, he's always been a really good run blocking center. We know that, which is good. Like I think that's a huge positive going into the playoffs if we can make a big leap there. But how is he gonna be able to pass pro? So played well yesterday. We're gonna go up
Mhm.
against much better opponents moving forward. So we'll see. I would say like I wasn't gonna be shocked if it was Greenlaw that went on IR, and not Wattenberg. So it was
Yeah.
flipped for me. But I guess Greenlaw not going on IR was a good thing overall. Hopefully that means that we can get him back sooner than expected,
Yeah.
and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, if they thought it was definitely 4 games and they just do it. So that's why when you see the IR, you're like, "Okay, they're not." I'm sure they don't want their center to sit 4 games if he could maybe be back in 3, you know what I mean? They would not put him on IR, they just he'd be injured, but like
Mhm.
they would be saving him. So it must be something relatively serious. And hopefully hamstrings are weird. So I don't know. They never are short injuries, but you don't know the severity of them. So like sometimes they're back quick. And then when Hufunga got hurt at the end there, I was like, oh gosh. But he came back in.
Mhm.
So he
Yeah.
should be okay there,
Thankfully.
hopefully. Um but yeah,
Yeah.
no, this is a good point by Kodiak. Like I felt like PJ Locke played really well. Troutman missed one block that I remember where it got blown up in the backfield. And I'm like, what? Shouldn't be running behind Troutman for the most part, but I thought he was real admirable with the way he played, and he made some pretty good third down receptions. And Singleton, for the most part, the one that stuck out, obviously, like you're saying, is that blown tackle that led the touchdown. But he was good as well. So I agree.
Yeah.
That's a
No,
good
I
point.
thought PJ Locke was out there. He was out for blood too, man. He had some pretty big hits if I remember,
Mm-hmm.
on the day as well. So I thought he played solid. But again, another player that we're gonna have to ensure that we get a lot of. Let me see. They actually just released the snap count, I think,
Mm.
and it looks like, yeah, it looks like Ben Powers and Palcho are still
Splitting
still
time.
split in time. It was 57% Ben Powers, 43% Palczewski. I think you'd agree. Like, you want to see that stop, right? Like, just pick a guy and roll with it.
Oh, I mean, I think they're just working him back in. I think
Yeah.
they're just like, we don't want him to come back in and then get hurt again. So I think they're just like, we'll give you work and he's on a pitch count, just like they
Yeah.
do with other players. And it's
Hmm.
weird for a lineman to be like that, but we're not used to that. But if it was a
Yeah.
receiver, you would know, you wouldn't think anything of it. So
Yeah.
I think that's just
I mean,
all
I'm
it
I'm
is.
pretty sure that's what it is. I just hope that that's what it is.
Yeah, I
You know
think
what I
that's
mean?
totally what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, and I think they probably, Palcho was like, he did a good job. So, like, I feel like they probably were like, Powers was kind of up and down. He was definitely down in the preseason. Then he played pretty well before he got hurt. And then Paltro's come in and he's kind of played well for the most part, just coming in and switching a position. That's pretty, like, that's an underrated thing. So I don't think they just want to be like, all right, back to the bench, old boy. Like, I think they want to give him some love too, and kind of also ease Powers back in as well. So I think it's like just it's not great for like cohesiveness for a unit, but I totally understand in this situation, especially being the end of the season when you have, you know, a good record and you're making the playoffs and all that. You don't need it's not a oh my gosh, it's the playoffs. We gotta, put the guy back in. So I think it's just a strategy. And Kodiak said something that I totally agree with. That about Zach Strief. Strief is one of the unsung heroes of this organization. Palcho / Forsyth have been plug and play in relief duty. And if you know anything about the NFL, there's no such thing as offensive line depth. It just doesn't exist. Like you're lucky to have good starters. Like you'd be real lucky to have 5 good starters on the offensive line. So depth is crazy. And for them to come in and play real well, that is a huge kudos to Zach Strief for sure. And
Hmm.
I saw Zach Strief talking to Bo before they'd go. Bo would run back on the field for his drive, and Zach Strief would tell him something. So I'm sure he's letting him know about certain guys or whatever. But like, yeah, you can't. I mean, he's definitely someone that doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah, well, and that offsides that they got him on was huge too, man. And I
Oh,
guess Mike Klis had said they had they had Quinn Miners actually do the one that would fake the set hut. Like he was the one, I guess, that yelled it
that's
to
right.
kind of throw him off a little bit. And it ended up working. I mean, and that could be a straight Zach Strief thing that, maybe he came up with, but that was huge, man, to be able to get them to jump off sides like in
It was
Arrowhead.
it was the
Um,
biggest play of the game because
Absolutely.
if we're he Peyton said after the game, if they don't jump, we're taking the 5 yards and kicking it. And then they only need to get a field goal. Like
Hmm.
the way that things had been going, like
Hmm.
that's and Butker can kick it from,
Oh yeah.
50 plus no problem. So like
Hmm.
that was by far the play of the game. And it was Miners who did the snap count, but also Miners who reacted to Chris Jones. That's the other part of that play that
Yeah.
you
He was like
don't
celebrating too, running. It was awesome.
well,
It was
because
dope.
he
Yeah.
made them call it. Because I guarantee you, Chris Jones, if he leans back real quick and our guys don't jump, they're not calling Jack. even if we snapped it about that, I don't know. But the fact that Miners was like, no, I'm going to make you make a call one way or the other.
Mhm.
Like we had already, like there was 2 really bad calls. There was 1 pass interference by Evan Ingram. That was like, they even asked all 3 of them in the booth. They even asked, I forget the officials representative guy, but he was like, yeah, I wouldn't have called that. And then there was that one that was the most obvious offsides or encroachment, whatever you want to call it. And they called it a false start on, I think, or on somebody, I don't remember who it was, but it was just like, we're not going to get even little calls. Like, so the fact that Miners, I didn't know it at the time, was the snap count person, and RJ did a good job of lifting the leg like he was about to do it, and they got it real quick. Like they did a good job. Like they've definitely practiced. Like do it with quickness and anticipation, so they're like on the line ready and getting them to jump. I was shocked. Personally, I was shocked, and the fact that it was Chris Jones that did it was like, oh my gosh, that's insane.
Well, it was huge, just like you said. I mean, it was the biggest play of the game because not just obviously because it led to a touchdown, but it forced him to burn 2 timeouts. It took more time off the clock, and we end up closing the drive out with a beautiful beautiful throw to RJ Harvey as well there. So yeah, no, that was sick, man. And again, it's those small things and those critical moments that this team's done a really good job of all year, and obviously something that they need to continue going into the playoffs. And I mean, I agree with what Sean Payton said after the game. Like he's like, it doesn't have to be aesthetically pleasing. I was kind of saying it like I don't care about style points. I know a lot of people said in this one they should go in and crush them, but really, like I was like, dude, maybe it was just for my own sanity. I was like, I don't give a shit. I just want to win. I want to win, and I want to come out of this game healthy. And we won. And for the most part, I haven't really heard anything about the Hufanga injury, but for the most part, there wasn't any big time injuries. So that's a big win for me. I think we just get what this team has taught us is maybe we've always gotten too hung up on like the way in which we win,
Definitely.
and really it doesn't matter. Like I don't think anybody really cares.
Do you remember like the 2015 season? Do you remember, besides like maybe the Patriots game in the snow, do you remember most of those games that we won that we like were nail biters that the defense had to pull at the end? No, you just were like, oh, we were good. The defense is good, and we ended up winning. And that's how this team is. This team, it's like it's just their way, which is like it's frustrating. And I pray that it doesn't come back to bite us. But like that's why we needed last week, because it was like one of those games where it's just like when we tried to turn the switch and we weren't able to like get stuff, or it was bad calls or whatever. Like you have to learn that lesson of like, don't get behind and then expect you can just do it. It's good to be able to do it, but you can't just live like expecting to do it. So that was what it was. So this next game is going to be real interesting. Because I mean, we're all hopeful that Houston beats Chargers tomorrow, but the fact that we all thought going before this season, I remember doing our predictions episode, and we all were like, I hope that the Christmas night game comes down to who wins the AFC West, and we take the title away from the Chiefs for the first time, blah, blah, blah. And like now it's like Chiefs are completely out of it. Like they're done. And then now it's like, nope, it was the next game against the Chargers. That's like, it could be for literally the 1 seed or the 5 seed. Like that's going to be the swing, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a fascinating game, and I'm curious, like if the Chargers end up losing to the Texans, and they play tomorrow, which is cool. I mean, if they do, obviously the Broncos win the AFC West, so the game would be much more important for Denver than it would for the Chargers.
Yeah.
And I was debating this with my brother, and I'm curious what you think about it. Like, do you think Harbaugh would sit most of his starters and not really care if he gets 5, 6, or 7 because of the injuries that they've sustained this year, and like, or maybe play like half the game? Or do you think they would go balls to the wall still to try to go into the playoffs as ready as possible?
It's hard because Harbaugh seems like one of those like balls to the wall type of guy. I think most people would probably be like, let's do the smarter thing. But like, and maybe with their injuries, they will. It's just more of his personality. He's like, I don't see him being the type of guy who's like, okay, guys, we're gonna just take this one. We're gonna play the backups and rest up. Now if they do play the starters, balls to the wall as far as who plays, I don't think they would show everything that they want to save for the playoffs. For like, I think it would be relative vanilla, and hopefully they can get a win.
Mm-hmm. Well, because there's a really good chance that we would play the Chargers if they lose, especially if they lose against the Texans, and then let's say we beat them in Week 18. There's a really high chance they'll probably be the 7th seed, and if they win their first matchup, which they play the Steelers, I can see them winning that game.
Oh,
there's
yeah,
a really high
sure.
chance we'd play them first round in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and
and
so again, you don't want to necessarily tip too much.
And Sean, I don't think wants a tip, so it's like it would be a weird vanilla
Yeah, but
game.
you
on
also
both
still
sides.
have to win the game, right?
Yeah,
I mean, winning the game is massively important. So
you're right.
unless somehow the Patriots lose tomorrow or on Sunday,
Which
and they play the Jets. I think.
Yeah. Shout out to Eli, but I don't see that probably happening.
No, I don't either. That would be hilarious, but
it would be.
I don't see that happening either. So we'll see, man. It's gonna be interesting. It's crazy how this season is kind of like, we have a chance. We've won 13 games and we're still not even, guaranteed the number 1 seed yet. So it's pretty
or even the AFC West.
And I'm kind of in the boat of like, I feel like I want to play a Week 18 game against the Chargers. The Chargers have everything to play for. The Broncos have everything to play for. Like, even though that's very nerve-wracking, like that's kind of the way that you want to go into the playoffs, right? Like already playing a playoff game, high stakes. You're going to be at home, so that's going to be helpful. But maybe that's the best way to get ready for a deep playoff run. So that could be kind of best case scenario for Denver too. Obviously,
yeah.
If we win, if we lose, that would be brutal.
Oh, yeah, and that just shows you the NFL. It's like you could win 11 games in a row and go 12 of 13 and still not be good enough.
Be the 5 seed.
To be the 5 seed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then you could be the Steelers, who it's like barely above 500, but that's good enough. I mean, we've had years that way too. So like it goes up and down, but it does show you the strength of both these teams. I'm surprised the Chargers have been able to keep winning with their injuries and with Herbert having the broken hand and all that. So, I mean, got to give him credit for hanging in there and staying alive with that.
No doubt.
Real quick before I forget, 2 guys that I wanted to shout out that I thought had good games that probably didn't get talked about enough were I thought Michael Bandy had a couple good, nice plays. He had a big 3rd down catch. That was good. And Jonah Ellis, having him back, he's just making more plays. He's really intelligent player. He's sniffing stuff out, and that's a real luxury to have him back.
Yeah, he's a beast, man. He really is. He's such a stud. Yeah, a huge fan of his. Thought the run game overall was fine. It was decent. I mean, I thought we were efficient running the ball. I love who RJ Harvey's becoming for sure. I'd like to see him be like a little bit more of a traditional running back as well. But yeah, man. I mean, Jonah's such a beast. He's such a good like. I think he's a phenomenal player. I love his effort, and it's such a great luxury to have like someone that can spell your starters, and him and Tillman, and they can still be very effective. And I can argue that in the last 2 games they've been better than Benito and Cooper have been.
I agree
when they've been on the field. So that is a good problem to have. No doubt about that. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and I also I was going to ask you. People have been clamoring for Bo Nix to run more, and yesterday he did. And he picked up a lot of big plays running the ball, especially on 3rd downs and stuff. But that touchdown run, what did you feel about that overall?
Oh, I loved it, bro. I thought it was awesome. Like I like the decision for him to run. Obviously him scoring was great. I love the way that he finished. What's nice about Bo is like you don't always worry about him taking too many shots because he's pretty smart with the kinds of hits that he takes. And I feel like if you're going to start to do that, you do that at this time of the year, like later in the year to extend drives. Cause obviously it's a, almost a win or go home type of mentality. But, I thought it was an awesome run, man. And I think that that's such a weapon to have in the red zone, especially, Because these games going into the playoffs, it's all going to come down to how does the defense play in the red zone and how does the offense play in the red zone. Obviously,
Mhm.
third downs as well, but like that's always been our MO is we've been a really good offense in the red zone and a very good defense. And even though the defense has kind of taken a step back in that department a little bit, like we've got to be able to score when we're in the red zone. We've got to be able to score, and having Bo be able to have his legs as an option is massive. I mean, and I think it directly goes into like the touchdown that we scored late in the game to RJ.
I was
Like
about to
a
say
lot
that,
of
yeah.
people bit. They kind of have to respect that he can run, and RJ Harvey ends up sneaking away and scoring, and so yeah, I mean I loved it. I thought he was really methodical with how he used his legs yesterday. How about you?
Yeah, same. And just like I felt like Herbstreit really like made a great point of like that's how you get people like your teammates to just like love you. When you are like we're struggling to get this in the end zone. We've kicked 2 field goals on these long drives and he just puts it on his shoulders and's like, "Oh no, I'm going to like run someone over to score," and not just like he knows when to slide, but like that was like we need a touchdown. I'm going to lower my shoulder on this one and I'm leaning in. And that was just it felt like one of those ones where I could feel like Broncos country just like exhale a little bit and be like, "Oh, okay, we got a touchdown. We're up now." Like we needed that so bad. And then at the end of the game, the rollout, him finding RJ was like that was just a really great play because he would have ran it and RJ was completely covered and RJ was calling for him to throw it over the top and Nix is
Yeah,
like, "No, you're
dude, you're
5'8",
5'8".
dude."
You're 5'8", bro. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just like, "Go this way." He stops, throws it before like, right when he's starting to make the put his foot in the ground and stop, Bo's already throwing it.
Yeah.
And it's just right here, and it's just like, thank goodness his back foot stayed in because it was kinda sliding a little bit, and I was like, "Oh gosh, please not
Yeah.
be out of bounds." But you could see the Kansas City Chiefs just be like, "Oh, that was it. That was the backbreaker,"
Hmm.
you know?
No doubt.
So
And
yeah, no, it's huge.
it was, yeah. So Cody, I said here, Bandy's out of elevations. Do we put him on the 53? It's interesting. So I was going back to look. It looks like we have signed Mercedes Lewis to the 53. Right, that's
Mhm.
why he was up and playing yesterday, and Calvin Throckmorton to the 53. I think it depends on uh, Pat Bryant. I think if Pat Bryant ends up clearing concussion protocol and he's able to be back for next game, then they'll probably keep Michael Bandy on the practice squad and just not be able to elevate him. But we could always just cut Throckmorton again if needed. But then again, maybe not because he is technically the backup center now.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's the
So yeah, I mean you have to see some of the roster gymnastics that we play because they can't elevate Michael Bandy, who's when he's thrown to, he's kind of making plays.
Oh yeah, no, he'll
Um,
catch it like
yeah, so it'll be
touchdown on him.
interesting. It'll be interesting to see what ends up coming from that. I think we'll definitely see there. But the fact that Nate Atkins wasn't put on IR, it's crazy because I would have thought Nate Atkins and Greenlaw, like I wouldn't have been surprised if both of them were put on IR, at least one of them, and it ends up being Luke Wattenberg. But we'll see. I think this
No.
this next week will be really telling as to how we manage the roster moving forward. Because yeah, you'll have to elevate Bandy at some point unless you want to elevate A.T. Perry or Elijah Moore, depending on. But I
Yeah.
think I'm definitely done talking about that. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think
So
it's gonna
certain
happen.
people will never be done talking about it.
Yeah.
Uh, one other guy that I forgot to shout out too that I thought played real well kind of quietly was DJ Jones. He just was like making good tackles in there. Like on a game when they're wanting to run the football so much and they have Hunt and Pacheco just like gonna be leading that, I felt like he made a lot of interior tackles that were like really big.
Hmm.
That, he's not gonna make some sort of like amazing play that you're just like wowed by his athleticism or something, but like the man is so strong. When everybody else is having trouble like making arm tackles on these guys, he tends to not. He tends to be able just to like, grab them and snuff
Yeah.
like just
He a
get
beast.
once he gets his arms on him, it's like, okay, he
It's
got
a
him.
wrap.
Yeah,
Hmm.
which is huge.
No, he's been playing great, man. Roach has been playing good. I mean, the D line, the D lines have been studs. But the pass rush the last few weeks hasn't really been what it's been. I mean, we did get 5 sacks against Trevor Lawrence, but it just doesn't seem like it's been as consistent as usual. But I'm
Again,
not overly concerned about the defense when it comes to rushing the passer. I'm the only concern I really have is some of the leakiness in the secondary and like the explosive plays. I'm fine with giving up yards, but I don't like the chunk yards. That's been the big concern that I've had overall. But D Rock over here, shout out to my guy D Rock. What's up, my man? How you doing, brother? Nice to see you in the comments again. So I'm not confident moving forward into the playoffs on the offense or the defense. What do you? What's your take on that?
What's annoying is like the defense started out so strong and it felt like they were like the definite driver of this team until that Washington game. And then since then, it has been like a lot more shaky feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even though they've had certain people go out and like PS2 went out and we didn't skip a beat. But then it was like, now why aren't we playing our best? So I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if Vance isn't like, I don't know what it is, but I agree with I agree with that sentiment of like, it doesn't inspire confidence till like last year in December, the defense kind of slid a little bit. And now this year, they kind of haven't been like dominant. The offense has been up and down. I felt for the most part like seeing long, methodical, like moving drives is good. And that's something that we always were complaining about. Like, there's so many 3 and outs or so many of this. We had to like, it was either boom or bust. It was like explosive play or 3 and out, it felt like. And now it's like methodical. Like, we're going to do like some 13 play, 19 play, whatever drives, and you're going to kill the clock. So I'm definitely more confident in the offense than I was in the beginning of the season, and the defense a little less. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised at anything. I could see the playoffs coming and the defense was totally locking up again, like totally
Yeah,
locking the other team up.
totally.
So I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yep. No, I'm with Cody. Like I feel really good about this offense too. Surprising. I think it's that's what's frustrating is like right when the offense started to really click and get into a nice rhythm and get out of their own ways that were plaguing them for most of the year. That's when the defense kind of started to go to shit,
I know.
which is like so frustrating. But I think the offense has been really good, man. Like even in the Jaguars game, I don't think the offense was as bad as a lot of people said it was. I mean, was it
Mm-mm.
great? No, but they showed a lot of really good things at times. But just what I've loved is like the longevity of these drives, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're talking. We had 3 play drives yesterday and a 16 play drive.
Yeah,
It's pretty damn. It's pretty damn impressive. Like I don't
it
care who
is.
the opponents are. That's pretty damn impressive. And the Chiefs' defense is still pretty damn good. You know,
Oh yeah, and the
regardless of
Chiefs were
Mahomes.
inspired.
Oh yeah, big time,
Like they
big time.
were that I could tell right from the first drive. I was like, this is not going to be easy. They're coming to hit people. They want to ruin our day. They want to ruin
Yep.
our
No,
chances.
of
So
course. Yeah.
yeah, it was a good test. It's kind of nice to have like this little mini bye before the Chargers. And then if we beat the Chargers, have another bye. So it's like you're not getting this long extended off break. You're getting like a little break, big game, little break, big game.
Hmm.
I think that's better for our team than having like off for 3 weeks because that's just it's hard to keep your edge that way.
Yep. No doubt about it. And the highest rated blocking offensive lineman per PFF yesterday was Alex Forsyth from a blocking standpoint. Now, overall, it was Mike McGlinchey who had a really good game yesterday too. But good to see Alex Forsyth out there balling. But yeah, I do love the fact that like we're gonna have a mini buy and then potentially another buy. But it's also like it takes you out of your groove a little bit too. So it could be a problem, but overall, I mean, I think this team I think this team could really benefit from it, just getting some time to get their bodies right and get healthy and all that good stuff too, especially with some of the injuries. So crazy game, man. The Broncos do not like to make anything they don't like to make anything easy. That we know. And week 18 is probably going to be a lot of the same. Nerve-wracking, worrisome, all that stuff. So we'll see. Any final thoughts or anything else that you wanted to discuss before we wrap it up here?
No, I mean, for the most part, it's just like if we can just correct the tackling and drops, like if that just gets fixed, I really like our chances against anybody. I
Mm-hmm.
like our spirit. I like how much we've grown on offense, and I like the experience on defense. But it's just going to come down to those two things. It feels like if
Yep.
we make if we make tough catches or just regular catches, we're we're going to keep the ball moving. And if we keep the ball moving, we're going to score points and touchdowns. And if we make tackles, they're going to have to punt. So, like, literally, it comes down to the most basic of all football things. So hopefully Sean is just going to, like, pound that, because that is just one of those things that was driving me up the wall. Like, Hufanga had one play yesterday where he just diagnosed this run so well. He ran all the way up, and then he whiffed on the tackle. It should have been a loss of, like, 6, and it ended up being, like, a long run.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, those are just the little things that if we can just fix, I really, really think. And a lot of people have said, and I agree, and I was thinking about it yesterday too, this next game's at home against the Chargers. If we win that, the next games in the playoffs will be home.
Yep.
Until we go to the Super Bowl. So, like, basically, we're at the point, if we win, it's all home games until the Super Bowl.
Yeah. We don't have to travel for a long time, hopefully.
Yeah. So, like, because of that, you should be able to, like, keep your focus on the small stuff. You're going to have the crowd on defense to be, like, yelling at the other team. You should be able to get, to the pass rushers. Like, they're not going to be able to be they're going to have to be on a silent count. So it should help the pass rushers, because, like, their biggest trait is their get off. And just do the little things. Don't turn the ball over. And I think we're built for the playoff. Like, this team is built in a way that it should be good for the playoffs. But now it just comes down to, can we do it? Can we just solve those little things? And we have no excuses because they're all at home, unless we lose.
Yep.
So.
No, absolutely, man. And one last thing here, D-Rock says, how confident are y'all that J.K. Dobbins will be viable factor in the playoffs as he's back remotely healthy? I've kind of eliminated that possibility from my head. I mean, it would be awesome, and I think he would be a pretty viable player, like if he's actually healthy when he comes back. But I'm not overly confident that's going to be the case. Foot injuries are weird. We kind of haven't heard anything about it, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if he's playing, that's a long time to be off and then just have him come back and he's 100%. Now, has it happened before? Yes. But, like, to bank on that, no, absolutely not. Like, that's all bonus at this point. Like, you have to, mindset-wise, you just have to be like, we have to do this without him. If we get him, great. But if not, nobody's coming to save it. Like, let's just do that. And I felt like the both Harvey and Jaleel ran real hard yesterday. Prentice did too. So that was good to see. I like that. I think, they're not complete backs. They're not all that right now. I think Harvey could get to that. But yeah, just keeping your fingers crossed for J.K. Dobbins to come in and save you is like,
yeah,
I don't
it
think
would be amazing. I mean, it
it
would be
would.
awesome. I just don't necessarily think he's gonna be back. But if he is, that would be great. I think it would be a big benefit to Harvey too, because then he could kind of have a certain role that he's designated on, and he's obviously, if you need him to be your workhorse, he's gotten more experience now of being able to do that. And I feel like J.K. Dobbins, they would definitely limit him, and they would ease him back into it. But I think he'd be really effective still in his limited touches too. I mean, he's kind of shown that he can do that, being a vet. So that would be amazing, and we'll keep our fingers crossed for J.K. Dobbins, no doubt. But
he's by far our best. Just, like, knowing where the hole is going to be patient when he's hitting it. Jaleel is like, I got to get as much as I possibly can, because once somebody gets their hands on me, I'm probably down. So I just need to go. And Harvey is like, I'm not exactly sure where I should go.
Yeah.
I think it's here, but, like, if it's not here, do I bounce,
Yeah.
And Dobbins is like, I know exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick.
Dobbins has been impressive. Go ahead.
Yeah. Looking at yesterday's slate of games, this is just shows you how crazy of a year this has been. And I just was, like, thinking about it after the fact, and I was just like, that is so weird. There was 3 games on yesterday for the NFL on Christmas. It was the Cowboys and Commanders, which looks on paper before the season of, like, the Cowboys should be, like, chasing some big stuff. Commanders were just in the NFC Championship against Jaden Daniels. What a huge game for started out. That's going to be a massive game. Both teams are out of it. Doesn't matter. Second game, Lions, Vikings. Vikings went 14-2 or whatever. They, like, had an unbelievable record last year, and the Lions look like Super Bowl champ, like
Yeah.
or Super Bowl contender, like juggernauts. Both those teams got like it's like where are we at with those teams? Like turning it over 6. It's crazy. And
Yeah.
then the night game would have been this battle for the AFC West. Like who's gonna take it? Who's gonna be this team? And it's Denver who's like fighting for a 1 seed while Kansas City's completely out of it, and it doesn't matter for them. It's just like the schedule makers were so that just shows you what kind of a weird year that was.
Yeah, I mean, you can only estimate, right? Like we looked at a lot of the games at the beginning of the year, and like, oh, that's going to be tough. Oh, that's going to be tough, and it ends up being like, oh no, the ones that we thought were going to be easier were tough, and the ones that we thought were going to be tough ended up being easy. Like you really never know, man, in this league, and that's what makes the NFL so great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely just super happy to get that game over with and move forward. And yeah, appreciate you tuning in with me today, man. Thanks for everybody in the comments that was watching. We had about 75 people on the stream at one point, so it's
awesome.
Pretty good for the day after Christmas. But hopefully you guys relax, enjoy the rest of the long weekend, and we'll get talking about some the Broncos Week 18 game once we know a lot more information next week. And then be sure to tune in Horsepower Hour on Monday, 8 p.m. Mountain. You got anything that you're working on or that you want to, have everyone in the comments? Make sure you guys go subscribe to Jeremy's channel at Broncos Unbridled. But, if you want to maybe talk about your other socials or anything that you got working on.
Yeah, I'm just working on like just some work projects that is going on right now. But it's nice to have this game over with on a third.
Yes.
I mean, as frustrating and as annoying that was to be like, we'd want to watch a Christmas movie or do this with the family. And now it's like the Bronco game. For me personally, it was like, I was hoping we could be up by like 3 touchdowns at halftime and then be like, okay, maybe we can like, I'll check in with it later or something.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Of course, that's not going to happen.
Nope.
But now we got the weekend and we have Saturday and Sunday football, and I can just relax. We won the game and it's over. So that's what I'm most looking forward to. But yeah.
Yep.
I'm excited for Horsepower, and I'm excited to watch the Chargers play as well, just to see. That's going to be a tough match against Houston. So.
Oh yeah. No, it's going to be good. And it's cool that it's tomorrow, kind of the only game going on at the time too, so we can pay full attention to it. But appreciate you guys, man. Go Broncos as always, and we'll catch y'all on the flip side. Peace out.
Peace out.